My name is Tarmack, and this is your E3 news wrap-up of the Microsoft press event for June 11th, 2017. Microsoft opened the conference strong with a long-tailed description of the specs of Project Scorpio with teraflops, super vape cooling, and all manner of other technical details, most of which were revealed through the Digital Foundry not all that long ago. And it has a name, the Xbox One X, which looks like a 13-year-old's gamer tag. That said, the footage shown throughout the press event did certainly look good. It's always worth being skeptical where E3 is concerned, as a lot of the time they'll have beefy PCs running everything behind the scenes, and Microsoft didn't actually say anything about the games being shown running on the actual hardware for the show. The Xbox One X will be releasing November 7th for $499 US, which is a pretty steep price, but again, they're pushing the premium branding here, and none of the games shown are exclusive to the X, just the Xbox line, so the X is an optional X. And poor Phil Spencer just can't keep his thumbs out of his pockets. Forza Motorsport 7 was shown officially with some great weather effects and lighting, but in keeping with the image of expensive cars, there's no crash damage to be seen in the trailer. And best of all, Microsoft made sure everyone could check off the real car on a stage box in their E3 bingo cards by bringing out a shiny 2018 Porsche. Reminding everyone that most of us will never afford a car like that, but we can still drive one if we buy Forza or something like that. It might be time for me to try a proper racing game out again, as it's been a few years. Luckily, as with most mentions of exclusive at these press events, they just mean not on PlayStation, so you'll be able to play Forza 7 on PC as well. Forza 7 will be out October 3rd on Xbox One and Windows 10, with a launch version for the X as well. Assassin's Creed Origins' long-leaked Egyptian setting was shown, and with, as expected, Assassin's Creed-style gameplay, though admittedly they did focus a heck of a lot on the combat rather than the stealth. Not sure why it's got a gladiator arena, but there you have it. The Falcon or Hawk seen in some of the pictures was also shown, which is used to scout an area from above, marking enemies or paths to certain locations, a pretty neat feature in my book. This one will be out October 27th. Continuing down the nostalgia train, which has yet to be fully derailed, we have Super Lucky's Tale. See, that's funny because he's a fox and he has a tail, but it's also a story about the fox, so it's also a tale. The game has bouncy things, ghost things, chicken things, farmer worms, farting garlic, pumpkin skeletons, and a bunch of 2D platforming sections in what is otherwise a 3D cartoon platformer. Frankly, it looks well polished and like it could be a lot of fun. And unlike some other platformers I could name, this one appears to have let their voice actors say full sentences. The game will be out as an Xbox Play Anywhere title November 7th. Only delaying my chip-ridden shoulder view that this game will never actually be completed, we've got a trailer for Cuphead on Xbox One and Windows 10. Cuphead, for those who don't know, is an early Disney aesthetic platformer that started its life as a boss battle game only. But after gamers expressed their respectful and calm discontent that it wasn't a full-scale platformer, the devs went back to the drawing board and put the rest of the game into the game, resulting in many delays. Supposedly, it'll be out on September 29th, but I'll believe it when I see it. These devs use release dates like Disney uses copyright term limits. Of the games shown at the press event or even announced anywhere else at the moment, I have got to say that the one I'm looking forward to the most is Sea of Thieves. They still haven't really said exactly what kind of game it is, whether an open-world MMO style or what, but Sea of Thieves involves sailing around on a pirate ship. You need friends to complete certain tasks to keep your ship working, and they're really helpful when your hands are busy collecting treasure. So it's a multiplayer pirate game with a goofy but fun aesthetic, a focus on co-op gameplay, but that also seems to have some PvP related stuff as well. I was excited when they showed this at E3 last year, and it looks like they've come a long way. Sea of Thieves is supposed to be releasing in early 2018, so there's still a lot of time until you get to play it, but as I said, of the titles I've seen so far, I want a piece of this one. The last thing I want to do is take pirates seriously, and frankly, this game doesn't seem to take anything seriously, which is great. Introduced by the 8th wonder of the world himself, Terry Crews, we got a gameplay trailer for Crackdown 3. I was genuinely concerned for a solid minute that Microsoft wasn't content with taking sponsorship money from Porsche and had lined up Old Spice as well. Crackdown 3 is, as you would expect, more ridiculous Crackdown open world shoot and blow everything up gameplay, and it'll be releasing on November 7th as well. Ashen was an interesting one. The aesthetic is quite nice, with low detail player models, and the way it appears to be played seems very similar to the Soulsborne series of games. Big boss battles and While there are 2 characters shown in the trailer, the description seems more about escorting people back to a home base in order to survive together, so that's a bit different. I've decided, given the couple of titles they showed at the press event like this, and games like The Surge, Salt and Sanctuary and such, that much like the roguelike and roguelite, we need some terms to describe this genre. Souls-like is the obvious one for those that really mirror the Dark Souls model. But for those that only just pretend to do so, I'd like to coin a term. I think we should call them Souls-less games. From publisher Raw Fury, who did the Kathy Rain point-and-click, which I reviewed a while back, we got to see some footage of a game called The Last Night. I honestly don't know what to make of this. It's a platformer of some kind, but includes stealth elements, and has one of the most diametrically opposed graphic styles that I've ever seen. The characters are pixelated and very retro-styled, but the animations, backgrounds, and lighting look really cool and high-res and just awesome. Might be worth keeping an eye on. The Last Night will be out in 2018. I don't really know how to describe the Artful Escape. It looks like a platformer, I think, but it's got guitar solos, fireworks, wicked music, and great background visuals. Totally memorable, but I really have nothing else to say at the moment other than it's on my list, unless someone can come up with another game where you jump onto an airship whilst playing a guitar made of light. One of my biggest regrets in gaming over the last little while was missing out on Ori and the Blind Forest, because frankly it's gorgeous and it should have been right down my alley. Well, Ori and the Will of the Wisps was revealed at the Microsoft press event and is no less stunning in all of its Metroidvania-like glory. They didn't show any gameplay, but it's pretty likely to play exactly the same as the first game, including a very clean but very radioactive mutant cat, with maybe a few additions. The new Ori is a Play Anywhere title, but there was no release date shown. Middle-earth: Shadow of War was shown, and it transitioned in a very odd way from totally serious to ridiculously goofy because of the orc dialogue that almost seemed like it happened too often. I was a little bit turned off by that, but with the Nemesis system coming back, I'm still looking forward to giving this one a try. Shadow of War is a third-person action game where you defeat hordes of orcs and their leaders in order to shake up the power structure of the land. But this time around, you can dominate the orcs in a totally not whips and chains sort of way in order to get them and their clans on your side for what looks like some pretty spectacular battles. The game also takes the scale of enemies up a notch by including ogres, trolls, and other much larger than orc baddies. Not sure what's up with the upper-class, well-spoken English accent orcs though. I mean, I know that Tolkien was British, but I don't think giving the orcs English accents is going to stop him from rolling in his grave over how this series butchers the Lord of the Rings lore. Shadow of War releases October 10th. And finally, we got a much more in-depth show of BioWare's new IP called Anthem. You play as a freelancer, effectively folks who go out of the massive walled city adventuring for resources and other sorts of things, I guess. The game takes the mobility of Mass Effect Andromeda a step further, with full jetpack action including underwater jetpacking, jump jets, and faster running. The Javelin exosuits can be customized with different loadouts, and there are different looking suits as well, which was pretty nifty. The game has multiplayer with kind of a drop-in co-op method from the look of things. It really looked good for what it's worth. My problem from the EA stream remains, however. BioWare is a company that built its reputation on story-driven content, and this presentation showed only about 30 seconds of that sort of thing. It was all about the action visuals, combat animations, and while that's cool and all, and I'll still definitely give it a shot, given this is the core BioWare Edmonton team, not an outsource, I'm still hesitant because I want more BioWare story stuff, not the open world action stuff, which has always been the studio's weaker content in my opinion. The lead designer did comment on Twitter that there is still absolutely a core BioWare story, and the game can be played alone or with friends. Luckily, the exosuits also cover the faces, so the facial animation budget should be pretty easy to manage this time around. I need to apologize for not listing every game in the news wrap-up. I've got a linked list to all of the trailers they showed down below so you can check out anything that I didn't mention. My focus is on games I found to be interesting and worth looking at in the future. There were some games that I just couldn't get excited about, but I've got all of them on my own list to check out for possible review in the future. I would like to give Microsoft props for a very good press event all told. They focused entirely on the games, with the exception of the Porsche car reveal. No Kinect, no TV nonsense, but that did mean they didn't talk about VR at all, which was supposed to be something that the Xbox One X can do. I think the name of the console is terrible, but, well, I'm not the target audience. At the end of the day, just about every title here, if not every title, is coming to PC as Microsoft focused on trying to expand their player base with the Play Anywhere side of things. So frankly, that keeps me pretty happy. My name is Tarmack, and this has been your E3 Microsoft Press Event News Wrap-Up for June 11th, 2017. If you'd like to tune in and chat with me while the press events are going on live, check the schedule in the description below for the press event times and head over to twitch.tv/tarmackgaming. I'll be live 10 to 20 minutes before each and throughout to the end. The next press event is Bethesda tonight at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Sunday, the 11th of June. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.